c'est Nicole Alexis. Moi sorti New York. Chaque jeudi, chaque vendredi à 8h, 9h, moi branché Connexion Plus. Connexion Plus, c'est moi-même, c'est vous-même, c'est lui-même, c'est nous tous.
Ou même qui c'est ouvrier CEA ou qui aspire à faire ministère dans l'église locale, moi j'ai bon jan nouvelle pour. MISED, Mathetes Institute School of Evangelism and Discipleship, a offrir une série de diplômes spécialisés dans discipline tankou, leadership l'église, éducation chrétienne, évangélisation, apologétique chrétienne, interpréter la Bible, counseling familial, présentation études bibliques, Ancien ak Nouveau Testament, nan souci pour bien équiper ouvrier cap fait ministère ou qui voulait faire ministère l'église ak yon dynamique sans pareil. Nan MISED, nous fait l'école yon l'autre gens et nous croyons tout le monde ka apprendre et tout le monde doit bien apprendre pour faire ministère CEA avancer. N'a invité tout chrétien haïtien tout côté sous la terre. Vin étudier Bibla dans bon timamite ak yon équipe professeur qui non seulement gagne en maîtrise pour pipiti, mais qui chargé ak expérience hybride qu'a fait en direct yon fois par semaine sur une plateforme tant que Zoom, Team, Google Meet et puis tout chaque étudiant a bien un tableau de bord pour le bambiler et faire devoir quiz ak examen. C'est là tout, y a bien accès à tout document et ressources pour tout couillot. En plus, document principal chaque grain coup. Kounuyo a fait en créole ak en français et très bientôt en anglais pendant 12 grains mois seulement. Qui pi bel cadeau qu'a offri tout ak ministère bon Dieu que préparer pour servir royaume Christ là ak excellence et ak passion. Pour inscrire au MISED et joindre plus de détails ak informations, seulement taper mathetesinstitute.com. Yundilot, MISED, une école pour étudier la Bible avec excellence et passion. Nouvelle session.
Moi, c'est Jean-Enoch Bruni, pasteur de la première église de Dieu de West Palm Beach, First Haitian Church of God of West Palm Beach. L'aime la caille moi chaque jeudi et chaque vendredi, commencer 8h pour 9h dans la soirée, c'est Connexion Plus, moi branché. Moi, recommander fortement pour capable brancher tout Connexion Plus avec pasteur Benjamin chaque jeudi et chaque vendredi sorti 8h pour arriver 9h. Que bon Dieu bénisse.
Bonsoir, je suis pasteur Raymond Benjamin qui vous souhaite la plus cordiale bienvenue sur Connexion Plus. Merci de votre fidélité, merci d'avoir connecté. Comme vous le savez bien que moi, nous sommes en période d'élection, nous en élection, et nous avons encore une fois à Soya, il y a un candidat, mais son rapporteur George, son juge, il était là déjà, il est retourné. Il s'agit de qui, bien sûr? De Madame Lourdes Casanova. Et c'est un honneur ensemble avec lui. On m'a dit ça pour l'autre monde. My name is Pastor Raymond Benjamin. Welcome to Connexion Plus. I have live in Connexion Plus Miss Casanova. Miss Lourdes Casanova. She's been a lawyer for a while. Mm-hmm. She is a caring person. She's involved within her community. Now she's running for judge. And to bring justice to everyone. Do you know why? Because it treats everyone equally. It's the reason why we invite you to vote for Miss Lourdes Casanova, because she is a very good person with heart. He loves everybody. Whoever we came from, whatever you speak, the language we speak, Miss Casanova always stand for everybody. As a matter of fact, she's She's a daughter of immigrant. She knows what's going on. I'm not only by myself. I have again Mr. Vladimir CELUNICE. He's the host for tonight. Welcome for being here. Thank you for coming. Welcome, Mr. Vladimir KONEKSYON Plus. Welcome, Ms. Casanova KONEKSYON Plus.
Thank you, Pastor, for having us. I'm always excited to come here. I'm always excited to talk to our people and let them know what's going on. We have with us Ms. Casanova again, and we're happy that you're here. The last show with you was awesome. I got to learn a lot about you, a lot about just how you plan on being on the bench, a lot of your philosophies, and I'm excited. I've already voted for Ms. Casanova.
Yes, Vlad, sorry. Congratulate Ms. Casanova. She won
Yes, sir.
the primary. She won the primary. Now she's running for the general election, right?
Yep.
November 5th, right? Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me, both of you. It was really a pleasure to be here before, and I'm excited to be back.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
So I did want to ask you, as Pastor just mentioned, you did win the primary. So I wanted to ask you to educate our viewers on where we are right now in the process and what we'll need to do in the coming days to make sure that you're on the bench, because that's what we're shooting for.
Well, you're extremely kind. Thank you again. I really appreciate it. So I'm really excited to announce that I did win the primary. That was in August. And it was all thanks to the voters who showed up and made a difference. Now I am in a runoff election. What happened was the top 2 contenders in the judicial race, there were originally 3, and now the top 2 go to a runoff election in November. It's on the presidential ballot along with every other race. So the turnout should be a lot bigger, right? Which is great, because now we will have a lot more voices being heard in Palm Beach County, and that's the way that it should be when we are electing public officials, whether it's on the national scale, the state scale, or the local scale. And really, what we need right now to make this happen, to seal the deal in November, is everyone to come out and vote. Yeah. So vote by mail ballots. If you already requested one, you should have received it already. If you have not requested it, you still have time to do so. Early voting, if you prefer to show up and vote, early voting starts October 21st, and then the actual election day is November 5th. So there are many ways to vote. The important thing is to get out there and do it whichever way makes you feel comfortable. And this is a county-wide race, so anyone registered to vote in Palm Beach County can vote in this election. I also want to mention that it's important, talking about local elections, and I was talking about national versus state versus Palm Beach County, right? The local elections are at the bottom of the ballot, but that doesn't mean that they're not important, because these are issues that affect the everyday lives of people here in Palm Beach County. So it's very important to vote the entire ballot and not just at the top of the ballot. So look for my name, not at the top of the ballot, because the presidential race is at the top, followed by senator, and then you continue to go down. But make sure you go down that ballot and vote in all the elections.
Absolutely. Donc, merci de ce côté sorti dans la primaire pour le voter, et grâce à vous-même, les passé primaire. Un grand merci à vous. Et nous venons tourner le côté encore. Nous sommes qui pouvoir. C'est peuple pour gagner pouvoir. Donc, nous venons côté encore à Soya pour nous dire merci et pour nous inviter encore une fois dans l'élection qui va être faite le 5 novembre, nous allons voter juge Lourdes Casanova. Lourdes Casanova, c'est petits immigrants, son papa et maman c'est cubain, mais j'ai moins ensemble avec nous c'est immigrants. Ils connaissent besoin immigrants mais ou même on n'a pas fait partie ni et pas dans aucune partie. Et pas ni républicain ni démocrate. Tout le monde a voté pour Ms. Casanova. Donc même si tu n'as pas tout fait partie ou capté pour un juge, il n'est pas fidèle à aucun parti politique. C'est la raison pourquoi il n'y a pas aucune redevance envers personne, parce qu'il a pour la justice à qui la justice est due. Donc, encore une fois, nous encourageons au 5 et novembre sorti en foule à voter. Mais sous pas temps, fait le 21 octobre, il a commencé early voting, on va aller faire avant ça, pas en gros ligne là. Donc élection ça est très important. Dans toute élection gagnée aux États-Unis, élection 2024 là, est très important pour futur Américain et pour futur le monde. Pas bien Américain c'est qui maman le monde, eh bien élection ça est très important pour capable voter, inviter moun, frères, sœurs, cousins, cousines sortir à voter. C'est une occasion nous pas rater, nous pas négliger à voter pour bailler ça en l'autre direction pour éviter après dans un bon moment.
Pastor, I'm starting to learn Creole because I think I understood a lot of that.
Okay, go ahead.
You said I'm the daughter of immigrants, right?
Yes.
You talked about how it's a nonpartisan race.
Yes.
Those are all very good points that he brought up.
Absolutely.
And the importance of voting in the local elections. Now, I speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese.
In Creole.
And I'm starting to learn Creole.
That's awesome. We'll give you a fourth.
Yeah.
So I know you talked about this election, our local election, being at the bottom of the ticket. I would argue it's that bottom of the ticket. It's the most important half of that ticket because that's the one that directly affects us. That's the one that directly impacts us. We had Ms. Tendrits here last night. She's running for House Rep for District 89, and she just spoke of like her reach in the community. And if elected, what she'd be able to do in her capacity. I know it's a little bit different as a judge, but I'd like you to speak to that, to speak to how you'll be able to shape or impact our community when you sit as a judge. If you could speak to that.
Sure, absolutely. Well, number one, I'm already involved in the community, and I plan to continue serving the community in the capacity of judge, if elected. And also in the capacity of being a volunteer. So I currently volunteer for the Hispanic Bar Association. I currently volunteer for Special Olympics. Now, when you take a judicial seat, there are some limitations as to how you can volunteer.
Yeah.
And what are there are certain restrictions that come with that as to what you can and can't do. But I do plan on staying involved in the ways that I'm allowed to. On the bench, I think it's important to treat the bench and treat every individual with respect. So you respect the position, you respect everyone that comes before you by being honest and transparent, maintaining integrity, following the rule of law. I think that goes a long way in and of itself because a judicial system where people have faith in it, right? A judicial system with integrity that people believe in is a judicial system that's strong. Right, so we want to maintain the integrity of the courts so people can continue respecting the courts, right? Of course, if I were elected, and I think I mentioned this before, I would be the first Hispanic woman elected by the voters to the bench. I do think that is significant because almost a quarter of the population in Palm Beach County is Hispanic, and the bench currently doesn't reflect that. And I think that's another part of the whole trust aspect and perhaps understanding when someone, when a litigant comes in and says, oh, this person looks like me, it doesn't mean that that person is going to rule in your favor or change the law for that person. Absolutely not. But it does establish rapport with that individual and perhaps make that person more comfortable. That person understands my culture. That person speaks my language.
I can certainly say as a prosecutor, when I have cases where the defendant or victim is of Haitian descent, I can look at that case. I would say a little differently because now I can understand fully their dispute. Where you're reading a police report and it's kind of vague, I can talk to them and understand like some of the root of the conflict that they're having, and a lot of times that could give us a better resolution. So I understand it from that aspect. Pastor, did you?
Yeah, sure. You know, point les mentionner, c'est respect et intégrité. Et quoi ça c'est qui point que c'est point clé dans le leadership. Et lorsque ou dans le leadership, d'abord respecter office que vous représentez. Office ou son George, mais ou respecter ou même tête ou respecter aussi office George là représenté. Et deuxièmement, intégrité. Donc, et pas parce que il y a une racine sur Cuba qui fait qu'il pas la loi en faveur. Nous connaissons les États-Unis sont référence en termes de justice et c'est ça que nous voulons qu'il y ait un système ça, parce que c'est la justice qui fait qui règne. Et qu'elle soit background nous, ou te mettre black, ou te mettre blanc, ou te mettre spanish, donc c'est la loi qui prime. Donc c'est la raison pourquoi nous avons besoin plus de monde avec respect et intégrité pour faire respecter la loi à qui la loi est due. Donc encore une fois, nous avons besoin de monde comme ça. Donc, et pas parce que moi, les pasteurs, mon Benjamin, il pas de bonne faveur. Non, les États-Unis va fonctionner comme ça. Les États-Unis, la loi, c'est la loi. C'est maman, c'est papa ou, et bien, ou gagner pour passer par la même loi. Donc, c'est la raison pourquoi nous avons besoin d'un monde qui pour faire équilibre ça entre moi ensemble avec vous, qui baille la loi à monde qui déserve la loi. Donc, pas oublier les États-Unis, c'est la mère de la démocratie. Ça fait nous très fort, c'est la justice. Et de la justice élève une nation.
And I know we talked about how important this election is. We have a lot of unique things happening in this election. Kamala Harris, she can potentially be the first black female president. Us here locally, we have Alexia Cox. She can potentially be the first black state attorney. We have you on the ballot. You could be the only Hispanic female judge here.
I have to correct that. There is a Hispanic female on the bench.
On the bench
yes,
right now.
She was appointed.
So you elected. You'd be the first elected.
Elected Hispanic woman. Yes.
What else what else that's going on in this election would you say is unique and very impactful, and that should be highlighted for this election?
Sure. Well, and first of all, yes, I can only speak about this election because it is a nonpartisan race, and we are governed by the judicial canons. So, with respect to this election, aside from bringing the milestone of being the first Hispanic woman elected to the bench by the voters, I am the only candidate in this race who is a former prosecutor, and as you know, it's a unique situation as a prosecutor. It's a unique role because your job is not necessarily to just prosecute. Your job is to do justice. So in that sense, it's similar to the role of a judge. I'm not saying it's the same, but you do have that experience of making an independent decision based on justice. That is your number one concern. In addition to that, you, as a prosecutor, handle 300 to 400 cases as a caseload. I know when I was a prosecutor, that was the caseload. It could be maybe as low as 200, but really as high as 400.
Yeah.
So it's a heavy caseload. You're in the courtroom every single day. You have a bunch of trials, jury and non-jury. I know that I have over 50 trials under my belt.
Wow.
And that is important. The courtroom experience, the trial experience, and experience managing a large caseload is important because as a judge, you have to manage a large caseload. You have to conduct the trial, right? You have to oversee the trial. And you have to run a courtroom efficiently and effectively. And that is something that you learn uniquely as a prosecutor. And then the other aspect is I'm the only candidate who has run a business. And that is also important because as a business owner, I wear many hats. So I know that I'm going to be able to be efficient and effective, as I said, by being a multitasker and a decision maker, handling a lot of different things at once. That is something that is required of a judge. Also, in county civil, I'm not sure if we did specify that the judicial position that I am running for is county court judge. So let me explain what that is really quickly. On the criminal side, it's misdemeanors, and on the civil side, it's monetary disputes of $50,000 or less. Within the civil side, you can also have traffic tickets, evictions, landlord-tenant issues. So these are And also, contracts between people, between small business owners, between businesses themselves. So these are matters that matter to local people. These are everyday matters. And going back to being a small business owner and why that gives me a different perspective on the bench. A lot of these issues do involve small business owners, right, on the civil side. So again, it's not going to influence how I would rule. I would rule based on the law, right? And I can't even say how I would rule on any particular case. It depends on what the law is and what the facts are that come before me. But just having that perspective of having run a business and interacted with people from all walks of life and seen contracts before, right? Having that exposure has given me extra perspective on the civil side. And I also forgot to mention that not only do I handle in my business criminal cases, I handle civil cases, small claims, civil, and traffic. So between being a business owner and having litigated in the criminal, civil, and traffic divisions, I believe I am the most prepared candidate for this position.
By far, but I'm biased. But go ahead, faster.
You're very kind.
Absolutely. Alors, nous avons une élection, ça, c'est une élection historique. Côté en pile, n'a fait histoire là-dedans. Nous avons vice-président Kamala Harris, qui c'est une femelle, et c'est la première fois qu'il y a un black et un femelle qui est vice-président et qui cap one for président. C'est la première fois que ça fait dans l'histoire des États-Unis. Deuxièmement, nous gagnons Miss Lourdes Casanova. Il parle le premier monde qui parle élu comme George. Donc, le premier monde déjà qui est nommé. Il parle élu comme premier Hispanic woman George dans Palm Beach County. Et nous gagnons Miss Alexia Cox qui c'est la one pour un State Attorney's Office. Ça veut dire que nous gagnons intérêt pour nous aller voter moun sa yo parce que yo comprennent le langage nous, yo comprennent la culture nous, yo comprennent la situation nous. Encore une fois, nous encourageons chaque monde déplacer le 5 novembre de 7h du matin à voter. Mais si vous voulez éviter gros ligne, le 21 octobre, il a commencé ouvert early voting à 7h. Aller dans mon côté qui peut la caille à voter, prendre mon à voter. À ce moment-là, l'église moi mettre machine disponible pour nous voter. L'église qui c'est ça, c'est Sinai Missionary Baptist Church qui est localisée là dans 4735 West Lantana Road. Et bien l'église ça, il pas de politique, mais tout le monde qui veut aller voter pour pas aucune excuse pas gain pour pas gain machine, bien l'église là met machine disponible pour aller prendre la caillou, mais nous aller voter et puis nous tourner la caillou. Donc pas aucune excuse pour faire ça. Donc nous encore chaque monde sorti aller voter et puis un monde pour aller voter pour aller monde qui vous représenter. Pas oublier Miss Casanova, il pas ni républicain ni démocrate, mais il représente tout américain en général.
Yes, and to reiterate, because I am learning Creole,
There you go.
it is a non-partisan race, so
It is.
anyone, I said this before, but it is so important, anyone who is registered to vote in Palm Beach County can vote in this election. It's nonpartisan, and I mean, I guess at this point, anyone can vote for anybody because now we're in the general election. I'm in primary mode here in my mind, but still, I mean, it is important to note that some of the races on the ballot are partisan. This one is nonpartisan. So, and I, I believe in that because we believe in the integrity of the courts, right?
Sure.
And the independence of the courts. It's so important to have not only the impartiality, but the image of impartiality. Of course, we want the actual impartiality and the independence, but we want, like I said, people to trust in the court system and respect the court system. And the only way to do that is to have it a non-partisan.
Yep. Alors, ça dit que la loi est impartiale, mais nous besoin mettre vraie personne, vrai monde dans place qu'il faut, capable de faire bon résultat.
I'd like to ask you too. I know you're already involved in the community, and you have far-reaching tentacles in this community. How has running in this race? How has it brought you closer to the community?
Oh my goodness, in so many ways. I have
Yeah.
met so many wonderful people, you included. So just on the campaign trail, you meet wonderful people.
Yeah.
And I've also interacted with a lot of nonprofit organizations and learned about nonprofit organizations in ways that I wouldn't have before. Whether it's something that helps schools or the poor or a diverse community, or the special needs community. I'm already a volunteer, as I mentioned, for Special Olympics, but I realize that there are so many other organizations that do help the special needs community.
Yeah.
So there are just so many wonderful nonprofit organizations in Palm Beach County, and I really look forward to learning more about them. And again, what I was saying before, if elected, I would love to continue staying involved in the capacity where I would be allowed under the rules.
Bien. Alors, ça qui est important, c'est que déjà une voix dans la communauté a déjà l'a aidé. Donc, ça qui est important, l'a éloigné. Pendant que le fin juge là, l'a continué et involve dans la communauté, mais avec certaines restrictions.
Yeah.
En tant que juge, il n'y a pas qu'à aller, c'est pas qu'à faire ça, mais ça peut empêcher que il continue à involve dans la communauté, continuer à aider en tant que monde, il y a dans l'organisation non-profit organization, l'a aider dans ce sens ça, c'est un volontaire dans volontaire.
Special
Oh yes,
Olympics.
Special Olympics is one example of what
Okay.
I'm involved with.
Volontaire dans
Special Olympics.
oui, Special Olympics, c'est volontaire là-dedans. Donc, encore une fois, il y a des gens qui ont un cœur, qui marquent avec la communauté, qui marquent avec le peuple, ils ont un cœur pour servir. Ils sont un servant. Je ne pas comme un chef, là comme un servant pour servir la communauté. Nous sommes élus de vraies personnes, de bons serviteurs, bons servantes, qui pour servir la communauté noire.
And I think it's important that you are as involved as you are in the community, because you'll be making, even though it's county court, you can still say that you'll be making life-changing decisions, because there's two people on the other end of those decisions. So being elected, we are counting on you to make the right decisions. We're putting you in that position because we do trust that you will, because you have boots to the ground. You know what this community needs, because this isn't you walking around kissing babies for the first time. Like, you're here, you're in it with us, and I think it's important to highlight that, and that's why we would trust having you on the bench, talking to the voters.
And I actually, sorry to interrupt,
No, go ahead.
something that you said is important, having those deep community roots.
Yes.
At an early start, and not just for the campaign. That's really important, because you do want to serve your community from the bottom of your heart. You do care about your community, and you're going to make sure that you are going to make those right decisions based on the law, because the community depends on you to follow the law, right? Our liberty depends on it. So I've been in Palm Beach County since I was 3 years old. That's the only thing I remember. And my parents, having been hardworking themselves, and having taught me to appreciate this country and also this community, they instilled in me the desire to help others and to work really hard. And that's something that I've done my entire life. And that's not going to change when I get on the bench. As a matter of fact, it'll probably
It'll double.
increase the service and the hard work.
Yeah.
And because I care about the community and because the community depends on it.
Tout à fait. Alors, ils font un point qui est très important par an. Ils dans une zone ça depuis 3 ans. Ils restent dans Palm Beach County. C'est là le levé, c'est là le grandi. Mais il y en a qui m'ont dit comme ça que parents, maman, papa, t'es enseigné comment pour aimer pays ça, comment pour aimer communauté, comment pour aider communauté ça. Et c'est avec que ça, il grandit. Il voit tout ce qui a passé dans Palm Beach County. L'école là-dedans, il gradué à middle school, high school, gradué à l'université, ils sont avocats, et qu'on y a libre servi communauté ça dans l'autre niveau. Et il est possible, lorsque vous sortez à voter, et 5 novembre, pour mettre Miss Casanova comme juge de Palm Beach County qui est là depuis 3 ans, et je vais servir nous dans l'autre dimension.
Yeah. What to you do you think is the most exciting or most rewarding part about this campaign, this race? What do you think is the most exciting or important thing that you've experienced or that you can say that you've gained from this race?
Getting to know the community even more. That's been the best part. I know I touched on it before. I've met so many wonderful people.
Yeah.
I've learned about so many different organizations. I've gone to parts of the county that I had never gone to, right? And not Belle Glade. A lot of people think, oh, well, Belle Glade's out west and she probably hasn't gone out there. I was a prosecutor in Belle Glade
Wow.
for about 9 months. So I was already familiar with that. And my father worked in the Glades for a while. So I am familiar with the Glades, but there are just different parts. Even parts of Boynton Beach, for example. We're in Boynton Beach right now. So I've been to parts of Boynton Beach, Lantana, parts of Boca Raton that I had never gone to, and just met so many wonderful people. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Like I said, learning about these organizations, that's exciting. The prospect of continuing and elevating the level of service to the community is really exciting as well. And then I also have to thank my committee members. They have been fantastic, and they are the reason that I won the primary, in addition to our wonderful voters. But the committee has gotten the word out. And just seeing the level of support and the kindness that I have received is really uplifting.
Wow. Well, les remercier Tim, ensemble avec Léo, ou même avec même voteur tout, qui fait gagner primary ça.
Yeah.
Et continuer, compter sur nous pour l'autre élection qu'a fait le 5 novembre.
And I just want to add, you have won the primary, but the work isn't finished. And I think it's important to let the voters know that even if you have gone out, me as well, I'm counting myself in there too, the work isn't done. This is the second half. We're going into we're past halftime. We're going into the fourth quarter, and I just want to speak to that, to let our voters know that the work isn't done. And what can our voters do right now to ensure that the work is done and that we make it over that the next step?
Great question. Number one, vote. And we talked about the different ways to vote. Number two, share posts from the campaign page on social media. So my campaign has a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and a LinkedIn page. Could you believe I have a LinkedIn page? My campaign does. Not everybody has a LinkedIn, but our campaign went ahead and got a LinkedIn, and that's also a very effective way to reach a different group of people, right? And certainly a lot of business owners and professionals. So I think sharing posts on social media, volunteering at early voting locations, joining the campaign team, those are all ways to help.
And I did want to talk about before the broadcast, you did mention some forums that we have coming up. So I did want to get into that, give out some of those dates and locations so that your voters can come out and support you and just see you on that debate floor and hear some of what you have to say and to hear what some of the opponents has to say and see how it doesn't measure up. So I want you to give out some of those dates.
Okay, absolutely. And this is still in the works. These forums are still in the works, and I don't have all the details. But the information I have right now is that the Palm Beach County Justice Association is having a judicial candidate debate or forum on October 18th at 11 a.m. via Zoom. I don't have the Zoom link yet, and I don't have other details, but that is something that was scheduled October 20th at 9 a.m. tentatively, because we're waiting on other details. There is an in-person forum at Kings Point. And October 29th, the North County Neighborhood Coalition at 4 p.m. is having a candidates forum with a bunch of different candidates, but the judicial candidates, again, and I always reiterate because it is important, it's a nonpartisan race, and we are bound by several rules. So we will be going first, the judicial candidates, and then we have to exit because we can't be a part of the political speeches of other candidates.
Okay.
To maintain the independence and the integrity of the judiciary.
C'est très important côté que l'autre n'a pas rencontré les démocrates, les républicains, il va rencontrer là parce que justice système nan il pas gain partisan. Donc quand il a rencontré c'est que lui même gain un côté non partisan. Quand c'est tout candidat qui a rencontré là, donc il pas gain parti, pas un parti. Donc Miss Casanova pas représenter un parti politique, il représente la communauté, il représente KONEKSYON et leur paraître dans devant nous, d'observer comme servante et pour ces taxes qui peut payer $, avec tout le respect qu'il pour, il avec intégrité, avec cœur, d'encourager encore une fois sortir à voter. D'un plus gros cadeau au cabaye Miss Lourdes Casanova, sortir à voter. C'est un cadeau cabaye pour ça d'ailleurs.
And being on the campaign trail, it's very difficult. There's a lot of moving parts. Aside from everything else that you have going on, running a business, being an attorney, being in a courtroom, almost every day. I wanted to give you a moment to speak to those who have been supporting you through this, those who have been encouraging you. I wanted to give you a chance to shout them out and let them know how important that has been to you.
Oh, it means everything to me. It's the reason I'm still standing, right? and that I feel very optimistic about November.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't take anything for granted, but these people are the reason we have received such positive response in the community because they have gotten the word out. So I'll start by saying I'm really proud of the endorsements that I have from the local firefighters, our local police, and the police includes the Police Benevolent Association and the Fraternal Order of Police. I have the endorsement of the Sun Sentinel, the Palm Beach County Human Rights Council, and the National Organization for Women, as well as the Hispanic Vote of Palm Beach County. So I'm really proud of those endorsements. I also have over 300 committee members from the legal community as well as the community at large serving on the Committee of Responsible Persons. Many of them are active committee members, so they are the ones who wear the t-shirts and go to the early voting locations and hold up the signs. They also go to various events for me and just continue to talk about the campaign and what my background, experience, and qualifications are. I would love to give a shout out to former clerk and comptroller Sharon Bach, who is on my committee. I'm really proud of that. And then aside from the committee members, aside from all of the organizational endorsements, I'm just really proud to have an amazing family who has helped me throughout the entire process. And when I say helped me, not only do my parents and my brother and sister-in-law, even the kids, their kids, they go out and they're constantly excited to talk about the campaign, but they help me with logistical needs as well. They come and help me walk my dogs. They bring me picadillo. They bring me food, right? Arroz con pollo. My mother is cooking and bringing me food.
That's
And that
awesome.
is so important because sometimes when you're on the campaign trail, you forget to eat.
Yeah.
You're so busy, you're going to 4 different events a day. So just having them continue to keep me centered, filling me with love, right? And also helping me with the logistical aspect. And also representing me and representing the campaign has been wonderful. And I could not do it without my family, without my committee, and without those endorsements.
That's awesome.
Tout à fait. Pendant que nous parlons de break, on n'a pas le tourner, mais pendant que avant de prendre break là, côté que je voulais remercier tout le monde qui a endossé dans le moment ça. M'a bien cité tout le monde qui te bail temps yo, habilité yo, connaissance, même manger fait pour lui. Donc les remercier maman, frère, belle-sœur et même neveu nièce qui toujours bon côté là pour supporter pendant un moment période campagne ça parce que là dans période ça ou même oublier manger. Et il dit comment on peut aider faire succès pour gagner l'élection ça. Un, faut nous voter. Ça c'est magique word là, voter. Al voter. Deuxième chose qu'on fait, c'est partager pour ça soit attendez à soya prend tout ça gain sur campagne partager dans social media pa ou dans Facebook, dans YouTube, dans Instagram, dans TikTok, tout social media yo partager pour lui. Et deuxièmement et troisièmement, sont capable de volontaire dans campagne ça. Il y a place pour il y a une position pour dans ce sens ça capable de volontaire. Et finalement, si tu as voulu faire un don tout, eh bien, bon, anyway, il va prendre. Do you want any gift from the people? What gift? Only gifts. Vote, right?
Oh, voting is
Voting
the number one
is
thing.
the number one thing. Okay.
And the number one honor to receive is to receive someone's vote.
All right. So c'est un honneur à faire Miss Casanova, à faire tête à faire communauté pour aller voter un monde qui comprend un monde qui comprend culture, qui comprend besoin et à camper pour défendre la pour bas justice à jeunesse sans parti pris. N'a pas dans tout état là.
Non, moi, c'est Nicole Alexis. Moi, sorti New York. Chaque jeudi, chaque vendredi à 8h, 9h, moi branché Connexion Plus. Connexion Plus, c'est moi-même, c'est vous-même, c'est lui-même, c'est nous tous.
Ou même qui c'est ouvrier CEA ou qui aspire à faire ministère dans l'église locale, moi gen bon jan nouvelle pour. MISED, Mathetes Institute School of Evangelism and Discipleship, a offrir une série de diplômes spécialisés dans discipline takou, leadership l'église, éducation chrétienne, évangélisation, apologétique chrétienne, interpréter la Bible, counseling familial, présentation études bibliques, Ancien ak Nouveau Testament, nan souci pour bien équiper ouvrier cap fait ministère ou qui voulait faire ministère l'église à qui on dynamique sans pareil. Nan MISED, nous fait l'école yon l'autre gens et nous croyons tout le monde ka apprendre et tout le monde doit bien apprendre pour faire ministère CEA avancer. N'a invité tout chrétien haïtien tout côté sous la terre. Vin étudier Bible dans bon timamite ak yon équipe professeur qui non seulement gagne en maîtrise pour pipiti, mais qui chargé ak expérience dans affaires enseignement. C'est un programme hybride qu'a fait en direct une fois par semaine sur une plateforme tant que Zoom, Team, Google Meet et puis tout chaque étudiant a bien un tableau de bord pour le bambiler et faire devoir quiz ak examen. C'est là tout, il y a bien accès à tout document et ressources pour tout couillot. En plus, document principal chaque grain coup. Kounuyo a fait en créole ak en français et très bientôt en anglais pendant 12 grains mois seulement. Qui pi bel cadeau qu'a offri tout ak ministère bon Dieu que préparer pour servir royaume Christ là ak excellence et ak passion. Pour inscrire au MISED et joindre plus de détails et informations, seulement tapez mathetesinstitute.com. Yundilot, MISED, une école pour étudier la Bible avec excellence et passion. Nouvelle session.
Moi, c'est Jean-Enoch Bruni, pasteur de la première église de Dieu de West Palm Beach, First Haitian Church of God of West Palm Beach. L'aime la caille moi chaque jeudi et chaque vendredi, commencer 8h pour 9h dans la soirée, c'est Connexion Plus, moi branché. Moi recommander fortement pour capable brancher tout Connexion Plus avec pasteur Benjamin chaque jeudi et chaque vendredi, sorti 8h pour arriver 9h. Que bon Dieu bénisse.
Sou pare an ale, yon nan pi gros cadeau yon moun ka bay tête li, c'est l'elle prend service nan yon professionnel là. Dans ce sens ça, si ou nan Florida ou bien dans quel que soit l'autre état yo, m'a préféré un Stallone Anilis qui nan tête Stallone Multi-Services qui gen plus passé 10 l'année depuis la bay communauté à service avec un pile courtoisie. Quel que soit service ou besoin dans affaires immigration tant que résidence, TPS, asile, citizenship, 4 travail la trier, c'est sans problème. Ou besoin de traduire un document dans quel que soit langue non, notarion papier, appliqué pour food stamp avec un pile l'autre service encore, relais Stallone dans 561 971 95 79. Stallone Multi-Services en chita dans 2 adresses, 5700 Lequef Road, suite 310-3, Green Acres, Florida 33463. Deuxième location, c'est dans 500 South Australian Avenue, suite 524 West Palm Beach, Florida 33401 dans Downtown West Palm Beach. Relais pour un rendez-vous dans 561 971 95 79 ou bien visitez website à Business Plan pour plus d'informations sur www.talonmservices.com.
Moi-même Césaire, depuis jeudi, vendredi 8 arrivé, je vais faire l'autre bagaille que garder Connexion Plus. C'est chita pour me garder Pasteur Benjamin. Connexion Plus.
Êtes-vous un propriétaire d'entreprise qui fait partie de notre communauté haïtienne dynamique en Floride et dans les Caraïbes? Si tel est le cas, vous avez probablement remarqué à quel point la vidéo devient importante en matière de marketing, de vente et de capture de souvenirs. En fait, l'utilisation de la vidéo est récemment devenue une attente des clients dans le monde entier. Et que vous le sachiez ou non, vous avez une histoire inspirante mais non contée. Votre point de vue unique sur le travail, la vie et tout le reste. Mais avec tout le monde qui crée du contenu en ligne maintenant, il est presque impossible de se démarquer. C'est pourquoi vous avez besoin...
Bonsoir, nous sommes de retour sur Connexion Plus. Nous sommes avec nous Miss Lourdes Casanova et Mr. Vladimir CELUNICE avec qui nous sommes en train de parler élection. Et comme on te dit déjà, élection ça est très important dans l'histoire américaine. Et qui a gagné une répercussion sur le pays ça et sur le monde. Le choix que nous avons fait dans l'élection ça en 2024 là, il va déterminer le futur pays ça et déterminer aussi le futur le monde. C'est pour raison ça, nous tous que le Seigneur permette que nous voter qui ont citoyen, eh bien nous pas arrêter dans caille pour nous sortir à voter. Et à soir nous gagnons ensemble avec nous Miss Lourdes Casanova, la One for George, c'est un non-partisan, il n'est pas ni républicain ni démocrate, il est là pour le représenter moins ensemble avec vous et représenter la communauté. Vlad, tu as fleur là.
So Lourdes, I did want to kind of circle back on some things that we talked about during our first interview, just in case if we have new listeners, new viewers. What is your motivation right now to sit as a judge?
Sure. And before I answer that, I don't want to ignore the question from the audience. So we had a question from the audience as to whether or not I'm going to be at an event on Sunday. I will not be at that event for the same reasons we've been discussing. This is a nonpartisan race, and that event, based on my understanding, is a partisan event. So the rules would not permit me to attend. However, I am always on the campaign trail, going to as many events as I am able to. So I know, for example, Saturday I am going to an anniversary celebration for the firefighters in the morning, and in the evening I'm going to the Palm Beach County Hispanic Bar Association Gala. And for the next few weeks I'll be going to community events. I believe there's a Hispanos Unidos event on October 19th. And I'm forgetting where it is right now because I have so many events. But typically, if there's a festival or a community event, I make the greatest effort to be there to meet the voters. And when I'm not able to go because I might be at another event, never because I'm at home relaxing and sleeping.
There's no time for that. We can't do
But
that.
when I'm not able to go because I'm at another event, I usually have a committee member there. But going back to your question,
I did want to, before we get into that
yes.
question, the event that we're referring to is the United Haitian American Democratic Club. It's a leadership conference at Town Hall. The United Haitian American Democratic Club, they're the ones who's hosting it. We'll have several candidates there. It'll be on Sunday, October 6th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Baptist Evangelical Church. Location is 1650 North Military Trail. So that's the event that we're referring to. We'd love for you all to be there, hear from some of these candidates so that you can make an informed decision in November. But back to my question. I wanted so our new listeners and maybe listeners who did tune in, just to refresh their memories on your motivations for sitting as a judge.
Family and community. Those are the short answers.
Yeah.
But I will elaborate. I spoke earlier about how I've been in Palm Beach County since I was 3 and how I was raised to give back to my community. So that's definitely a reason. And service to my community has been a part of my entire upbringing and a part of my entire schooling and career. And even an even deeper reason is going back to my family. And you did mention that my family is from Cuba. My family experienced the direct consequences of a country that did not respect the judicial branch. The judicial branch in Cuba was essentially an arm of the executive branch, and so things would happen without a trial, right? And so I have one family member who was executed by firing squad without a trial, right? You're just presumed guilty, right? There is no due process. There is no separation of powers. There is no access to courts. That was the most extreme example, extreme but very real example. A lot of other things happened that affected my family's well-being and their liberty. But because of those experiences and because of what I learned at a very early age, really from birth, I am committed to the rule of law. I am committed to our constitutional principles of separation of powers, access to courts, and due process, because I know that that is the only way that we preserve our liberty.
Wow. Les familles font presque extraordinaire en tant que migrants. Ils sont dans un pays Cuba côté qui va respecter la loi au point que ils exécutent un membre de la famille. Ils expliquent qu'on est qui ça lorsqu'on pays va une loi qui impacte ça gagne, qui implication ça gagne lorsqu'on pays pas respecter la loi. C'est la raison pourquoi elle est décidée la prendre for judge pour venir servir communauté ça de façon faire tout en respectant la loi et ceci sans partisan. Moi-même, la j'ai même problème dans tout. Problème injustice. Mais le venir américain sont l'autre bagaille. Son pays qui respecte les lois, respecte les principes, respecte la démocratie et son système qui est très fort et moi crois dans la justice américaine, c'est un grand pays qui a fait effort pour kembe juste la caillou bien haut.
I think I remember you telling us that story during the first interview, and anytime you hear something like that, it still impacts you. And we're all grateful to be in the U.S. of A., where we do have law and order, we do have those separations of power, and just hearing something like that makes you respect it and appreciate it even more. My next question is, being in that role as a judge, that's a significant amount of power, you know, and not to quote Spider-Man, but with great power comes great responsibility. What are some of the character traits that you have, some of the experiences that you've gone through? What can you share with our viewers so that they know that you are the right candidate to wield that power? You are the right person to elect, to have up there to make those decisions.
Well, number one, you can't be doing it for the power. you got to do it for the right reasons,
Yeah.
right? You have to do it because you want to preserve liberty in the courts. You have to do it because you want to serve your community. You have to do it for the right reasons. So that's number one. Number two, you have to have the right personality for it. So I think that a judge, especially in county courts, needs to be friendly,
Yeah.
needs to be positive. And we talked about honesty and transparency, but a little lightheartedness
Yeah.
doesn't hurt. I think that's the type of temperament that would benefit the county court bench.
Yeah.
And I believe that more so in county court than in any other court system, because county court is the people's court. A lot of people represent themselves because they cannot afford an attorney. So in criminal court, you do have the right to a public defender if you can't afford an attorney, right? You have the right to an attorney. But in civil court, you do not. So in county civil is where you see people representing themselves because they can't afford one, or maybe they think it's not worth it. Maybe the monetary dispute is so low that it doesn't make financial sense to hire a lawyer. But to have a judge who is a people person,
Yeah.
right? Just a friendly person who is going to exercise good judicial temperament and treat everyone kindly, regardless of the ruling, because a judge may rule not in someone's favor, but based on the way the judge explains the ruling and based on the way the judge treats that person can leave the courtroom feeling that they were treated fairly, and that is the most important thing.
Tout à fait. Alors, au besoin d'un juge, n'est-ce pas, qui a traité avec fairness, avec intégrité, avec respect dans ce sens. Donc, si vous dans serve dans bail civil, vous pas besoin de monde qui pas gagner un avocat, pas y faut li, pas payer un avocat ou bien pas demander un avocat.
Yeah.
Mais vous besoin d'un juge qui a bon common sense, bon common sense, bon comprendre, qui peut aider à faire une bonne décision dans le moment ça. Il parle l'autre, Miss Lourdes Casanova, à le voter là.
And just hearing you talk about different personalities, or the right kind of personality that you need as a judge, as a county court judge in particular, it reminded me of Judge Barry Cohen. I got a chance to be in front of Judge Cohen for he was a senior judge. We were waiting for someone to fill that position. And the last judge we had, Judge, I don't know if I'm allowed to, but the last judge that we had, I really appreciated him. He taught me a lot. I enjoyed going to work and knowing that when I make certain offers or I have certain things going on with the case, that he would make sure that justice was done. And it was his form of justice. As you know, there's an old saying that that judge is the king or queen of that courtroom. And I got to experience that judge, and then later on Judge Cohen before he left, and he highlighted different things for me as far as I guess looking at the defendant in a different light, like highlighting the reasoning behind some of the offenses that they would commit, and just kind of trying to not just punish, even though punish is the first aspect. You also want to make sure that you can place them in a situation so that they don't reoffend, So I think having that kind of personality to be able to look at people as people and make the right rulings is extremely important.
And I forgot to mention one attribute that is super important, which is patience. You have to have patience in life, and you have to have patience on the bench. And because some days are going to be longer than others, and some cases are going to be more difficult to hear than others, or it may be more frustrating. The parties might not be coming to an agreement. It just might be a frustrating day. Those days happen anywhere, and it happens in the courtroom, and you have to have the patience to continue to treat everybody respectfully and make sure that you're being efficient, but at the same time, people do have the opportunity to be heard.
Yeah.
Absolument. Un mot-clé, il est mentionné, c'est la patience. Et en plus, là, si nous perdons vertu, ça nous perd la patience. Là. En tant que juge, il y a un jour qui ne pas même gens. Il y a un jour qui a un pile tracas, il y a un jour plus long que l'autre, il y a un cas qui demande plus de temps, plus de discussion, et bien, il y a besoin de pile patience pour te des gens avec respect, avec intégrité, pour faire justice, ça doit être fait. Et ceci, ça demande patience à tout le monde.
And I did want to give you the opportunity to speak to our voters. If election day was tomorrow, what do you want them to know today? To someone who's on the fence about you, or someone who probably doesn't even want to vote, what would you say to that person to make sure that they're making an informed decision, they're making the right decision on who to vote for that day?
And you said it the right way. It's not that you automatically get a vote. You have to earn the vote, right? And I believe I have earned the vote by being someone who is committed to justice, fairness, and integrity. My background as a prosecutor, where the principal role was to do justice, where I litigated daily in the county court system, where I managed a caseload of 300 to 400 cases. And where I conducted over 50 trials, jury and non-jury, but a total of over 50 trials. Having been a business owner and having interacted with people from all walks of life, running a multi-practice firm, litigating in the criminal, civil, and traffic divisions. One thing I have not said yet is that these are all things I do, but it's because I have a passion for it. And so my passion and my focus my entire career has been the county court system. And I love it for so many reasons. But again, it's because it's the people's court, because you get to interact with a lot of people. Not saying I don't love interacting with attorneys, and attorneys are people too. But interacting with litigants who represent themselves, it's the one opportunity that you may have to positively impact their view on the judicial system. And that is just such a great feeling to be able to do that. And the ability to mentor young attorneys as well who go through the county court system. And a lot of times that's where they start their legal career. So my passion and focus is the county court. I do ask for your vote because of my background, qualifications, and experience. The election is November 5th. But of course, voting has already started by mail, and early voting will start soon. Toward the end of this month. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, folks, that's time. We're going to wrap this thing up. But Ms. Casanova has my vote. And if I voted for her, you should probably vote for her. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. Once again, thank you, Lad, for being so kind.
Anytime.
Yes, thank you for your time, and thank you for your expertise, your experience. Thank you a lot. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Casanova, for being here. Thank you for choosing to serve our community in a higher level. We thank God for that. You are my prayer, and we get my vote.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, voting is a duty for those who qualify for it. One of the best ways to bring change in a democratic system is to vote. This is why on November 5th, I strongly encourage each and every one of you to get out to vote. If you want to change that, if you want to bring hope in America, if you want democracy, if you want justice system, you will need to go out to vote. I will encourage you, I even recommend you to encourage other people to go to vote. My church, where I am, is available. You can call us. We have people who will be available to bring you home, to go to vote, and to bring you back home. There is no excuse. Once again, thank you for being here. I have a special thank you for my people, my engineers. Thank you, Engineer Sami, Samuel Ellison, thank you, Engineer Bobby Joliver, and thank you, all of you watching right now, and we wish you a wonderful weekend. May God bless you. We'll see you soon at the vote. Right? Where? Anywhere. The early vote will be started early. If do not miss it out. This is a great opportunity. God has blessed you to become a citizen. Use that opportunity to bring change to America. May God bless you. Have a good weekend. Thank you for being here.
Non, moi, c'est Nicole Alexis. Moi, sorti New York. Chaque jeudi, chaque vendredi à 8h, 9h, moi branché Connexion Plus. Connexion Plus, c'est moi-même, c'est vous-même, c'est lui-même, c'est nous tous.
Ou même qui c'est ouvrier CEA ou qui aspire à faire ministère dans l'église locale, moi gen bon jan nouvelle pour. MISED, Mathetes Institute School of Evangelism and Discipleship, ap offrir yon série diplôme spécialisé dans discipline tankou, leadership l'église, éducation chrétienne, évangélisation, apologétique chrétienne, interpréter la Bible, counseling familial, présentation études bibliques, Ancien ak Nouveau Testament, nan souci pour bien équiper ouvrier cap fait ministère ou qui vle fait ministère l'église ak yon dynamique sans pareil. Nan MISED, nous fait l'école yon l'autre gens et nous croyons tout le monde ka apprendre et tout le monde doit bien apprendre pour faire ministère CEA avancer. N'a invité tout chrétien haïtien tout côté sous la terre. Vin étudier Bible dans bon timamite ak yon équipe professeur qui non seulement gagne en maîtrise pour pipiti, mais qui chargé ak expérience dans affaires enseignement. C'est un programme hybride qu'a fait en direct yon fois par semaine sur une plateforme tant que Zoom, Team, Google Meet, et puis tout chaque étudiant a bien un tableau de bord pour le bambiler et faire devoir, quiz ak examen. C'est là tout, y a bien accès à tout document et ressources pour tout kouyo. En plus, document principal chaque grain coup. Kouyo a fait en créole ak en français et très bientôt en anglais pendant 12 grains mois seulement. Qui pi bel cadeau qu'a offri tout ak ministère bon Dieu que préparer pour servir royaume Christ là ak excellence et ak passion. Pour inscrire au MISED et joindre plus de détails et informations, seulement tapez mathetesinstitute.com. Yundilot, MISED, une école pour étudier la Bible avec excellence et passion. Nouvelle session.